Welcome back.
Right.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Holistic Cannabis Show with your host, Dr. Yolanda Henderson.
And Henderson.
All right. We have some exciting news and some entertainment to talk about in the cannabis industry. So we hope you enjoy the show. Sit back, relax, and kick your feet up and enjoy the Holistic Cannabis Show.
Yeah.
You can reach us if you're on your social media or if you want to share on Instagram, manifesttv.status, Facebook, a Status Network LLC, Periscope, status_network_, Twitter, status_network_, and Roku. We're at the Status Network on Roku. Mr. Henderson.
Yes.
All right, tell us something new and something good about cannabis right now.
It's good.
It's good.
Something that's good about cannabis right now is the continuation of the expansion of the cannabis industry. All right, some things have been moving around in the cannabis space recently here since we've been on break.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of new changes that we're hoping to see on a national scale, as far as statewide and everything, state choices and state decisions and everything. And hopefully Georgia is coming on. Come on, Georgia.
Come on, Georgia.
Come on, Georgia. Come on now. Don't let me down.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. And then we're also excited about our new baby, a bundle of joy that just popped into the world a couple of months ago. So we want to welcome her home.
You did have a baby.
Yeah, we're done with that part.
There she is right there. Look at her.
Home.
She's stealing hearts.
Yes,
She's stealing hearts already.
Mwah.
She's
I
stealing
miss
hearts.
you already, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, Norma. Woo.
And then we have a special guest with us today.
We do.
Dean Signs, who we'd like to welcome back to the show and explain some things that's going on. We'll ask Dean. That's an Ask Dean segment.
Mm-hmm. The Dean of Cannabis.
Dean of
we got the
Cannabis.
Dean of Cannabis
That's
in the
right.
building, all right? He gonna break it all the way down. We also got a segment coming up later on down the line where we actually talking about credit, right?
That's right.
And the importance that credit will play in the financing of your credit, of your cannabis business. All right, as a viable option to alternative funding and financing, since we know that Safe Banking Act haven't passed, and we know that getting a cannabis business loan is kind of still in sketchy water right now. But there is one thing that can't be stopped is your personal finance. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that and how to get that back on track so that maybe you can use your own personal financing for yourself.
That's right. And we also have a financing option for you. So once you get your credit repaired, you can come on over to Soul Financing and get financing up to $300,000 to open up your cannabis business. So we're helping with all aspects. And so that's why we're the Holistic Cannabis Show, because we're talking about it mind, body, soul, plus more. So anything about the cannabis industry, you will know watching our show. So thank you for tuning in again. We want to welcome you and sit back and relax. After this commercial, we'll come back with more information with Dean Signs, the Dean of Cannabis.
The Dean of Cannabis.
Yes, thank you.
We're now enrolling for Saturday 5-week comprehensive medical cannabis courses. 404-631-6360 for more information.
All right, we're back. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the credit repair and talk about what you have going on in the credit repair industry. What is the name of your business, Mr. Henderson?
Well, I recently relaunched NTH Credit
Okay.
to also include here in the state of Georgia. Georgia has some kind of sketchy, I wouldn't necessarily say sketchy, just a little bit more stringent. That's my brand right there, NTH Credit.
Okay.
And what we do is we educate people on ways that they can improve their credit. I know in the credit industry, it's kind of taking a beating because of the chances that it is for a person to get your social security number, birthday, and assume your own identity.
Okay.
But federally, there are ways that you still can protect yourself to keep yourself from going and being misused. But when we're talking about on the business aspect of it and why credit is important when it comes to business, is that you can use that for alternative financing as an option. Yeah, you could go to venture capitalist and angel investor route. You could go to fundraising. You can, sell off portions of your company if you have stock that you make offerings on and everything. You could go that route, but when you financing your business yourself out of your own pocket, it's almost kind of like retaining more of the ownership of your company. If you go with a venture capitalist person, they're gonna want a percentage of something that you into. But if you financing it yourself, all the money coming out of your pocket, that means outside of regular expenses to operate a business, which you could go get a small business association loan for that part. But as far as upstart of your company, initial purchases for lamps, lightings, anything of that nature. Right. If you can go get finance for a $20,000 car, a $25,000 car, you can also be approved for other loans to start a business by using your personal credit too. So I hear a lot on the advertisements about, just go file bankruptcy. Just go file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy give you a free start. No. But at the same time, what they don't tell you, if you don't know, is that bankruptcy gonna sit you for about 7 to 10 years. All right, and it's gonna take you about maybe a year or two before anybody even touch you. Right. By the time you do that, it's not gonna be good on the business side of things.
Okay. Cool.
And so we're going to give you our credit tip of the day.
All right.
Just because you filed bankruptcy doesn't mean your credit is repaired. And it's some truth to that. A lot of people think they're going to go file Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is total liquidation of all assets. That means that you're going to walk away from everything. Right. Except maybe if you want to keep a car, you want to keep a house. Okay. Other states have, I'm not sure if Georgia have it, but other states have Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which is a reorganization of debts. Okay. I think here in Georgia it may be called something different, but back in the day it used to be called wage earner.
Right. Wow.
All right. And so with that program, you could reorganize your debts, keep everything that you have, and just pay money to the trustee, which means that the state is going to get money too.
So is there one that's better than the others, Chapter 7 versus Chapter 13?
It just kind of depends on what the situation that you're in. I know I've heard of cases in other states where I operate where a person would go and have a decent credit score, get everything that they want, and then go file bankruptcy a year later. They go file Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So that way the boat they get to keep, the jet skis they get to keep, the car that they bought they get to keep. usually, strategically, I guess, if that's the plan that you're going to go with, you get everything you want, you file Chapter 13, and by the time you make it through the Chapter 13 program, the stuff is still yours. You wasn't able to purchase anything because you filed bankruptcy. No matter which one you file, you still won't be able to go out and purchase anything else in your own credit for some time anyway. So you go get the house you want, the car you want, and everything else that you want, and then go file bankruptcy. I mean, I wouldn't tell nobody to just go do it.
Yeah.
But
if you have to.
If that's what you choose to do.
Okay, so you're saying that they don't have to do that. So we want to hear from callers today. If you are in a situation where you think you might have to file bankruptcy or you need some information on getting your credit repaired, we want to hear from you with your questions. So if you could call us 470-251-4647. All right. You can call us and ask us questions. Ask Mr. Henderson some questions on credit repair.
Sure thing.
And we'd like to answer any questions that you have on air, so somebody else who may have the same question can also hear from you as well.
Sure thing. You know, I talked to quite a few people who want to know about their credit. Say like your car got broken into, or you lost your ID or something like that. And now when you go and pull your credit report, which you're entitled to a credit report every year. Okay. You're entitled to one free from each of the three major bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You're entitled to one federally. See, these credit repair laws are on a federal. Right, so they operate through federal means and everything. Okay. You have the FDCPA, which if anybody want to Google that, you Google that. They tell you about your rights, about everything consumer wise that you and able to do. That's why I say bankruptcy might not always be the best choice. Okay. All right, because you can use federal law to remove things from your credit.
Right.
All right.
Okay, such as our viewers may want to know.
Somebody reports something on your credit bureau, right? A credit card. You just don't pay it. It get turned over to a collection agency. Okay. When it turned over to the collection agency, those are the people that's gonna hound you and harass you and call you all times of night, right? Right. Well, there are certain things that a debt collector must do. They have to be licensed to even collect that debt.
So if it's another state, right?
Bam. If it's a state that they call it from California or Vermont or Maine or one of them places, right? And they calling you in Georgia, right? If they're not licensed to operate in the state of Georgia, they are acting illegally. Right. All right. So if that's on your credit report, guess what? It's illegal. All right. So by using the federal law, you go through a series of writing a letter to each of the credit reporting agencies. Hey, this. Of course, you want to have it documented. Most collection agencies, they gonna send you a letter. Right. Those letters are automated letters. Those letters are mailed letters. So they just go out. There's nobody saying, oh yeah, we can't send this letter to Georgia. We can't send it. No, some collection agencies just so thrilled about trying to recoup what they have purchased the debt for until they don't consult with a appropriate attorney, which it takes to collect those debts. There are debt collectors and there are debt attorneys. All right, and the debt attorney, he works on both sides. He can work for the consumer, which is us, and he can also work for the collection agency. So it'll be wise to retain the services of an attorney for that purpose. I mean, if that's what you're gonna do.
All right.
Or you can log on to www.nthcredit.net and let me guide you through the process. I act as a consultant because at the end of the day, I want you to be able to have just as much knowledge as I have.
There you go.
All right, when it comes to credit. Duplicate yourself. Duplicate me. Duplicate what I say. That's I mean, that's cool. But if you don't have the time, see, credit repair is a process.
It's a process.
It's not an overnight type of thing. and it takes a while. Sometimes your credit did get messed up in 30 days. No,
Right.
your credit got messed up over a series of time.
Right.
So it'll take you some time to
get it.
legitimately have these items removed to where they never show up, even if your credit is sold to someone else, right? Because we all know that trade lines are bought and sold every day. All right, so Bob buys your debt from Capital One.
There it is.
And then he buys it for pennies on the dollar. And then he turn around and tell you that you owe $500, but when it left Capital One, when it left there, it left there at maybe $300. Well, now that fee is $600, and on top of that, they're reporting incorrectly to your credit bureau. So let me save you $600 because of what I do know and what I have studied and learned and kind of trying to perfect as I go. Let me, be able to assist you with getting that removed.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to come back with a video on credit repair after this. We have a couple of things that we can talk about based upon credit. And Mr. Henderson will talk to you about that with the Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science. We offer this. We offer this in one of our courses, the business and finance class. Mr. Henderson does go into detail about everything credit repair and financing in the cannabis industry.
Right there.
Yeah.
In module 5. We talk about financing. We talk about crowdfunding. We talk about the differences between venture capitalists, how to fundraise, and how to make public offering. We talk about tax code. We talk about everything cannabis. All right, but at the same time, those individual components of the finance piece often spring from our personal.
Yes.
So you got to have your personal lined up. That way you move further ahead with the business.
There you go. All right, so we'll take this quick break and we will watch Mr. Bob talk about credit repair.
Come on, Bob. Tell it what it is, Bob.
There you go.
Bob. All right, so understand now that just because you can do your credits yourself, that's fine. That consists of sending communications to each of the credit bureaus and keeping track with the time, and we do much more than just consult you on how to remove things from your credit report, but we also show you how to establish credit, how to build trade lines, how to build positive trade lines and have them reported and everything. We go over all that kind of stuff, right? I show you how to do all of that kind of stuff.
And in-house funding.
In-house funding.
Come and talk a little bit about. I'll steal a little bit of the show. Is where we can get you connected with lenders for your business, for your personal, for whatever kind of money you need, up to $300,000 worth of income. Once that credit score, it has to be a 640.
That'll be a 640
or above. Just like getting a house, you have to have the criteria met in order to get the funding, and therefore you can go and open up whatever cannabis business that you want. We also like to include that the Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science has just launched our first ever testing lab. So we will be able to test all kinds of cannabis. So any CBD products that you bring in, you're like, I want to know if this will show up in my drug test.
Bring it to me.
Bring it to us. We have the equipment now. We will be teaching our students. Our students will get the equipment. They have an option to purchase their own kits. And you can go to a farm. You can learn how to test their cannabis levels.
Wait a minute, I got a question for you. And where will we be teaching this extractions from?
So we will be now teaching at Clayton State University. And,
here we come, Clayton State.
Yes, we're excited about that. I mean, this is a major step. This is what we've been working for. In our previous video, you saw that we were contracting with different, schools. We were looking for schools. So the more schools, the merrier. And also hiring instructors. So if you think you have what it takes and you're in the cannabis industry, if you want to send us your resume to Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science at gmail.com, we will look at your resume to see if you qualify for a position in teaching one of our courses. Just tell us what you do and where would you like to teach, what area of town. We're also looking for people in Columbus, Georgia, and different places in Georgia to take the school to. So we're actually looking for investors as well. So if you're interested in investing in the Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science, contact us 404-631-6360. And if you have any questions about cannabis accounting, cannabis credit, give us a call, 470-251-4647. Again, 470-251-4647. We can answer, Mr. Henderson can answer some questions for you about credit.
All right. Well, there it is.
All right.
There it is. All right. So we got the
dean.
The dean of cannabis.
So we're going to take a short break and we're going to
let him
bring the dean.
Tell us about cannabis. Some more cannabis.
Some more cannabis. We'll be right back. All right, so welcome back. If you're just now tuning in, I am your host, Dr. Yolanda Henderson, with my co-host over there,
Mr. Henderson.
All right, and then we have the Dean, Dean Signs. We'll welcome you in. You can introduce yourself. Tell us more about who you are.
Okay, my name is Dean Signs. I'm a cannabis activist here in Georgia and have been for the past 23 years.
Okay.
I am former deputy director with Peachtree Normal, just retired at the beginning of this year after 8 years of leading our local Normal chapter. Okay. And I'm also an instructor with the Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science.
Woo! Great.
Okay, right quick, I want to go over a couple of quick things here. One of the big things we've got going on is the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement, or the MORE Act.
The MORE Act.
This is H.R. 3384. It is a bipartisan legislation that removes cannabis from the Controlled Substance Act. This is on a federal level. This is why it's so huge.
This is huge.
Because if we can do this, then it will leave each individual state to decide how they want to handle cannabis, whether it be medical or recreational.
Okay.
All right.
So
the MORE
that's a big thing there. You can find out more information about it at normal.org. And there's also a link on there for you to contact your representatives in Washington and tell them to please support this act.
Yes.
It is very, very important. We've been fighting, we've had this war on drugs and the war on cannabis for 81 years, and 81 years, $1 trillion, and the plant's still winning, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
It's time to put an end to all of this and stop arresting people for using a plant.
that's it.
Exactly.
And it means a lot more, because the MORE Act will make a tremendous opportunity for the minority community, especially with educating. And that's what we need. We need to educate, reinvent the wheel, allow those who are already been, ostracized and imprisoned and jailed due to this plan, an opportunity
Exactly, yes.
to actually come back and work in the industry legally. So that's what we're excited about as well. So please contact whoever you is in your area and in your jurisdiction.
Like I said, you can go onto that
Yes.
link there, and it will. You can type in your zip code.
Yes.
It'll pull up who your representatives are, and it'll give you a direct link to contact them in Washington. And they have pre-formed letters, so all you have to do is just add your name to it, send it to them. The more support we get on this, the faster we can get it to move through.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely awesome.
Right.
Thank you. What else you got?
Okay. Also, the Georgia Medical Cannabis Commission will be having a meeting Saturday, February 29th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Austell, Georgia.
Yes.
The address is 500 Austell Powder Springs Road, Southwest. It will be open to the public. They will not be taking public testimonies, but anybody that's in the medical field or anything like that, you can contact them if you would like to be able to speak.
Yes.
They're looking for input. These are the people that are going to be setting down the guidelines for the current Georgia law that we had passed last year that will allow for in-state cultivation and distribution. So this is a big
Be
step forward.
there.
Yeah.
Be there.
I've
Be there.
Yep, I've already emailed Jeff Dixon, and we should be on the panel to be able to talk about and educate the GAMCC on
Cool.
cannabis, the medicinal cannabis.
And one other thing, coming up Saturday, March 14th, we have the Holistic Health and Healing Summit.
Yep,
It's going to be at the Fairfield Inns and Suites in East Lithonia.
we have a picture of that.
And it starts at 12 p.m. Tickets are only $15.
Yes.
The web address to get tickets is georgiamcs.org. So I hope to see a lot of people there. We're going to have a great panels of a lot of different people from the industry are going to be there. We'll be there.
Me and you. Yeah, we're on that.
And a lot of other great people. I should have had a list of everybody, but you can go to their website and you can find out all the information.
We actually have
I think we
a
got
flyer.
a flyer.
there's a
The
flyer on
GA.
Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram and
It's on
Twitter and all like
Instagram?
that.
It's on
So,
Instagram.
yeah, it's on all the social
Facebook
media
and-
sites.
yes.
So hopefully we'll see a lot of people there. We're going to have. I know there's going to be several places people there from the medical profession. They're going to be doing screening for sickle cell and several other things.
Okay.
So
So I might bring my
it's-
scan out there and do
so
a
there's going to be a
little
lot of good things, and there'll be actual doctors
you
there
go.
that
There it
are
is right there.
that are listing. That are writing recommendations, so you'll be able to talk to them and get more information on that.
Yeah.
All right. So there it
And-
is right there.
Look at you up there, Dr. Yolanda Henderson.
Yeah.
But hold on,
Look
how
at
come I'm
Dean.
not on there? That might be on the next piece. Look at Dean up there.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And also, while we're talking about that, current article that just recently came out in the AJC, we have had a 70% increase in the medical cannabis cards issued here in Georgia.
All right.
And last year we had about a little over 8,000. I think it was 8,402 people.
Yeah.
And currently we have over 14,511 people.
Yeah.
That's
Got a
all
lot more.
have medical
That have
cannabis
already been
cards.
issued their medical cards
That's
for
already-
the state of Georgia.
Y'all see how much money it is on the table
And
right
we have
now?
over 1,000 doctors throughout the state now that are writing recommendations.
Wow.
How can we get a list of those doctors?
There again, go to GeorgiaMCS.org, Normal, Peachtree Normal. They have a listing on there that you can find, and there's several other places that you can find a listing of doctors in your area that are writing the recommendations. And we're happy to have them on board, and we're hoping to see more doctors come on board with it.
There you go.
One of the things they're crediting for the increase in the amount of cards that are being issued is last year we had intractable pain and PTSD added to the qualifying conditions.
Right.
And so that opened the door for a lot of people because a lot of the other things, cancer, HIV, MS, and Crohn's, and all the other diseases were listed as stage 4.
Right.
So
end stage.
Right, the end stage, and we weren't real happy with the
wasn't like that.
with the legal terminology on that.
Right.
But it is what it is, and so by adding the intractable pain and PTSD, which was a big thing, because there's only currently 6 states out of the 34 states that have medical cannabis. There's only 6 states that allow PTSD treatment for PTSD. So we were excited to get that. And for people that do not know, what the Georgia law allows for is, if you have your card, you're allowed to legally possess 20 ounces of oil at any given time, and it's 5% THC or less.
Right.
And one of them that they have is Haley's Hope, which I have some here, and this is a botanical blend oil, and this is what it looks like. It is an oil derivative that, and this is actually manufactured in Colorado, and but it was named after Haley, little baby Haley, which is who our bill was named after.
Right.
And this does meet the requirements to be legal here in Georgia. If you possess the card, you're legal to possess this. And we always struggle and tell people, be careful when you're buying CBD products. If you're self-medicating and you're buying them for whatever reason, make sure you know what you're getting.
Right.
And don't buy your CBD products from the gas station, because a lot of that stuff is imported from China, and we have no idea what is in it because it's not regulated, it's not tested. So make sure that the bottle should have a code on it or something like that, a batch number, that you can go and you can be able to pull up the test results to make sure that it has been properly tested and for pesticides, heavy metals, and any other kind of contaminants, because we want people to get better, not get worse.
Right. There you go. There you have it.
Wow.
That's
Smooth.
what it looks like. I like that. Can you show the camera again?
Yeah. Can we take it out the box though?
Yeah.
There you go. And that is the pure
Look
grade.
at that. That's the real stuff. That's the real stuff right there.
That's it.
All right. That's
And
the
this
real.
is just
That's the
one
real
of many
CBD
products that
right
are
there.
available out there. There's a lot of other good products that are available out there. Like I said, if you're looking to get it in Georgia, this is what the patients here in Georgia and everything that are lucky enough to be able to access the medicine. A lot of them, this is the exact medicine that they're using. So, and it's only 5% THC, so there's not really a worry about somebody getting high off of it, because it is below the threshold of intoxication.
Okay.
So it is safe for children. That's what this is designed for.
Yeah.
Especially the children with epilepsy and and other ailments. So
I got a quick question for you, and I have a question for the viewers. Me and Mr. Henderson was discussing this earlier, and we were asking, what is an appropriate age to talk to your child about CBD hemp cannabis? I mean, we're in this age of time where everyone is needing this for medicine, or there is a possibility that their siblings might have the use for cannabis. We want to hear from the dean, and then we want to hear from callers. Callers 470-251-4647 to ask the dean some questions, and we want to hear from you, Dean, about that.
I would say, depending on the child, any age is appropriate. If they're old enough to understand, 5 years old, if they're old enough to understand, especially if they have somebody in their family, maybe a cousin or, even a good friend or something that, has one of these ailments, like maybe has epilepsy or something like that, let them know, yes, this is a medicine.
It is.
And it can, and it's like all other medicines that need to be treated like a medicine. It's not something for fun use and just to take. There's a lot of controversy in a lot of states, and especially here in Georgia too, about edibles, which they're not allowed here in Georgia because they make the gummy bears and such as this, and they say, well, they're targeting kids with it. No, you treat this like you would any other medicine. You're not going to bring home a prescription from your doctor if he gives you Vicodin or something like that. You go to a dentist and you get Vicodin. You're not going to come home and leave it sitting on your coffee table.
No.
Same as if you have something like this in an edible form, keep it away from the children. Let the children know this is not candy. This is medicine.
Exactly.
You know, if they're old enough to understand that somebody is sick, then they should be old enough to understand. You know, this is a form of medicine that can be used to help them. You know, I mean, education is the key.
It is.
You know, we're seeing more and more people are, you know, I mean, everybody has heard of, basically has heard of CBD now. You know, 5 years ago, we were talking about this and people had no idea what we were talking about. You know, but with the onset and, you know, the marketing and, I mean, it's readily available. You know, you can go to CVS, you can find the products, you can go, you know, a lot of different places, holistic health centers, herb shops. All these different places are carrying these different CBD products. They're available in oil form like this. You can get them in a topical cream. You can get them in patches. So, you know, I mean, there's many different ways of delivery, which we also cover in the courses that we're going to be teaching at Clayton State. Some of the many different delivery methods, and different methods are more precise for certain ailments.
Right.
So, you know, depending on what kind of ailment you're trying to treat, would be as to, you know, what we would recommend, or what I would recommend to someone for usage of this.
Right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Dan. If we do have any callers, please call in. I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to read a blog that I wrote out for the press, and this is pertaining to the cannabis industry, plus the industry workforce is concerned, because people don't understand why there's a need for school. There's a big need for education in the industry, and I wrote this for immediate release. And it is the Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science states that if Georgians want to have better laws and medical cannabis, they're going to have to continue to fight for it. Basically, that means that the passing of House Bill 324 and the House Bill 213 will provide us with the direction for the possibilities of new career opportunities. So by the December 31st. So hopefully all of this will be in place by the end of the year for careers. But are there possibilities of a new career, local businesses, and the job labor opened up by the full implementation of the current laws that's set in place? Are they going to help us to move forward, you know? So think about this for a moment. Based on a report from the Seattle-based Headset Incorporated, the average consumption of cannabis by a patient in the U.S. costs about $3,150 per year. And if we look at the fact that Georgia's population is about 10.4 million people, that's a lot. And if only 1 out of 10 people would consume medical cannabis, and we already talked about the medical cannabis cards, on average, all right, so with, you know, people taking this card, the math is very simple. $3,150 times 1 million people, it leads to about $3.2 million, okay? Though these numbers may be staggering to anyone's imagination, this could be the economic potential for the implementation of the passing of the new laws. So it's actually giving the opportunity to open up job in the workforce labor. Again, this is if only 1 out of 10 people decide to use this as medication, which is a reasonable assumption. Obviously, for this to happen, the industry will have to be fully operational. As a validation of this type of revenue, Pharmacology University states that the Mayo Clinic recommends that for epilepsy, for the most part, patients are recommended to take 300 milligrams of CBD. How many milligrams is that?
300.
Yes, this is 300.
That's a 300 milligram. There you go. For them to take 300 milligrams of CBD, all right, so that would mean that per day, which would be 9 grams a month, and at $50 per gram, if you're lucky to find it for that low price, this equals $450 per month, or $5,400 and that's per person. All right. So all of this is entailing that we're gonna need places, facilities. We got 6 licenses due, based upon House Bill 324. So 6 licensing, and carefully we have to know that we're gonna have to open up a job market for this. In-state cultivation, in-state, everything needs to be done, and people are needing the education right now. All right. So I go on to say in my blog that Pharmacology University, they states that a pound or the average price per pound in the rest of the country for the state of Georgia to fulfill the demand, it will have to produce a minimum of 1,755,000 pounds a year, which in a population of about 10 million people, only equates to 1.6 pound per patient, or 2.25 ounces per month per patient. And incredibly, that's conservative numbers. On average, to produce, we're going to have about 2,000. We did the numbers. So it's basically you need to have about 2,000 grow facilities, 10,000 square foot spaces that could produce 1,500 pounds of cannabis per year. Okay, so, and this is just going by strain and different, types of grows and things like that. And so the facilities that you need, these are going to be, right, there's going to be a huge demand of the to be able to have the Haley's strain of CBD, you're going to have, and that's just oils. What about the topicals, the lotions, and things like that? So we're going to have to grow a lot of this here in Georgia. Okay, so it's saying basically that more to the point, once the medication is produced, you will need somebody to dispense it. Consequently, if the average sales in the dispensary in the U.S. are $1.5 million, that means that Georgia will have to house 2,184 dispensaries. But like I said before, with the passing of House Bill 324, only 6 licenses will be issued out. So out of those 6 licensings, they will be able to have and hold different dispensaries within those licenses.
Yeah, there was actually no limit put on the number of dispensaries.
Right.
Just the number of grow licenses.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
as far as the dispensaries go, because it does allow for any pharmacy, such as, if it's a chain like Walgreens or CVS, or if it's an independent pharmacy,
right,
they can sign up and receive a license to become a distributor for the oil for anybody that has the medical card.
Right. Okay. So this is opening up a new or an additional labor force for over 85,000 is the estimate employees that they're going to actually need in this industry, such as security officers, transportation, lab employees, manufacturing, real estate, construction. Equipment sales and maintenance, etc. So this is not bad for a new industry, for something that's been stigmatized for so long. And for the most part, none of us recognizing the magnificent revenues. This is like a $2 billion, what did we say it was before?
That's why I keep saying, come on, Georgia.
Like,
you don't let the money pass you up like that.
Forbes magazine said the CBD industry by 2025 is poised to be a $20 billion a year.
No, $22 billion, man.
Okay,
I need the other two. I need the other $2 billion. $22
we need all
billion,
this
man.
money in-house, right? Okay, so investing. That's where Mr. Henderson talks about in his class, Module 5, investing. Module 5. So this is not bad. And so including the agricultural hemp, we're not just talking about the medicinal side, we're talking about agriculturally being able to grow it and, having the rights of a farmer with the passing of House Bill 213. And at that rate, you can grow at $50 per acre up to $5,000. You can get a license, and those licenses are unlimited, correct?
Yes, there's no cap on the number of licenses to grow industrial hemp, but there has been a snag in HB 213. It was submitted to the FDA for approval, and the Georgia proposal was turned down.
It was,
but It was turned down because right now there is we need Gary Black, our agriculture commissioner, said he needs $1.6 million for the added personnel he needs just to oversee this.
Okay.
And what if we got? What if we got
that's got to be worked into the budget this year, which they're currently working on. And if we can get that approved, then the hemp licensing and the hemp growing can go on through. But by default, the Farm Bill of 2018 allows for states that do not pass their own hemp initiative to fall and be grandfathered under the federal guidelines.
Oh.
So technically, anybody that's interested in that needs to research the federal guidelines, and you can apply for a federal license to grow hemp in the state of Georgia.
In the state of Georgia.
But
there you go.
now the flip side of that is, if Georgia does get theirs put into play, even though you already have this federal license, you will still have to apply and qualify and pay the fees for the state licensing too.
Oh, okay.
So, it's kind of a double-edged thing.
Yeah.
But until the state gets their act together and we get the Agriculture Commission set up to govern this and to be able to do all of this, then, the door is still open on the federal side for people to go ahead and explore that. So if you're a farmer and you're interested in growing hemp, then, my recommendation, go ahead and contact the Federal Farm Bureau in Washington and start your process with them. Because I was told that, now I have not been able to confirm this, but I was told that the federal licensing is only like $25 application fee. So it's not a huge investment to go ahead and get the ball rolling on that. And if you can qualify on a federal level, then as soon as the state gets theirs together, then there'll be no problem for you qualifying with the state. So you can go ahead and get the ball rolling on this. So hopefully by the end of this year, farmers will be able to start growing hemp here in Georgia.
Okay, so you said that Gary Black is short $1.6 million.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Can a person or a entity give $1.6 million?
I'm not sure on that. I don't know what the state status is. I think it has to come through the state funding. I don't know if they would allow a privatized business or a private individual to put up the funds to form this. But that is an interesting thing.
Interesting.
I mean, contact Gary Black at the Georgia Agriculture Commission and find out.
Yeah, Gary, you need to tighten up, man. I know how you get $1.6 million. You need to holler at your boy.
Yeah, this licensing fees alone would be more than enough to cover this, but this has to be in place before they can start issuing the licenses. And with all the budget cuts that Governor Kemp and all of them are trying to do now, that's why they're on sabbatical right now. They're on a break Yeah, well, they've suspended the session for right now so that they can address the budget issues.
Right.
Okay, so they're talking amongst themselves.
Right. They're currently working on getting the budget into place so that they'll have the budget, and then they're going to go back into session. So our session for Georgia will be extended out while they're on this 2-week break. I'm
just saying, a pack of cigarillos costs $1.07. I don't think that nobody have a problem paying $1.25 for a pack of cigarillos. If that's gonna mean that they're gonna get what they need to get, you could tax other non-cannabis products like maybe bongs or pipes or papers, even cigarettes. Hell, you're taxing everything else.
Well, they call those sin taxes, and they already have those, and there is a bill in the House right now to raise the cigarette tax by $1.85 a pack.
Yeah. If that's gonna mean we get cannabis,
they have not allotted as to where this money is going to go to.
It needs to go to cannabis.
Right.
See, just like the licensing fee for the 6 licenses for the growers.
Right.
That right there just goes into the general fund. It's not allocated to go to a special fund.
Who's over that general fund?
Right.
That general fund means everybody up there under the Gold Dome can have their fingers in that.
So we need to go talk to everybody up under the Gold Dome, right? So that's why you say that advocating is probably going to be the most effective, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because you have the strength in the numbers, right?
Right.
You got the strength in the people.
We need to let these people know, look, we're tired of being behind the 8 ball here and trying to play catch up with everything.
Right.
We've got to get this moving forward.
And it's going to impact everybody.
Right.
Not just, kids.
I mean, we
not just adults.
We passed the Haley's Hope Act 6 years ago.
It still ain't got no cannabis.
And still have no in-state cultivation.
Yes.
We still have no safe access for the patients to get the medicine that they need. And once we allow this number of, 14,000 people with their medical cards, that's going to just blow up. I mean, there's so many more people out here, but a lot of people are like, well, why do I even bother to go get the card because I don't have any
get the
access.
medicine, right? So
I mean,
they need to do, Dean? Who they need to talk to?
You need to get a hold of your representatives. Talk to them and say, look, y'all need to get off your butts and get this on the ball.
How do they find out who the representative is?
Like I said, you can go to Normal. You can look on there on the Normal website. You can punch in Georgia. You enter your zip code. It'll automatically pull up, and you'll see who your senator and who your representatives are, and it'll give you all their contact information. There are form letters on there. You can write your own letter.
Y'all getting this right?
You can go down here and make an appointment to go down here and talk with them. Most of them, they have their offices down here at the under the Gold Dome, but they also have offices in your hometown too. So
y'all hear that, right?
Contact them, find out who they are, contact them, go and have a sit down with them. Say, look, I would like to sit down and I would like to talk to you about this. This is important to me.
Advocate.
This is how we've gotten this far in Georgia.
Yeah.
Because we do not have a ballot initiative. We cannot put it on the ballot for the people to vote on.
Right.
We don't have that option here in Georgia.
So you got to give them that face.
Everything has to be passed through the House and through the Senate.
Right.
So that's, where we come in and, we've been down there, we've talked to them, we've argued with them, we've begged, we've pleaded, and we've got a good bit of support down there.
Right.
But, we need more, and we need everybody out there to, send them an email. It takes 5 minutes to send an email. Make a phone call.
Let's flood some emails, y'all. Let's flood some emails. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. We want this cannabis. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on now. Come on.
And so additional. So why we need education, why we need the training, why is Atlanta Academy here? The reason why, and for those that have no legal experience, everybody's been doing this, that's been doing it under the table. They want to be able to have something to put on a resume, basically. They want to have some training. It greatly enhances the chances of getting a job in the marijuana industry. So
all these other states that have gone and legalized, like Illinois, they just recently passed theirs back the first of the year. They opened it up there. Well, they're having a hard time finding qualified people to work in these fields.
Here you go. Come on, get that certificate, man.
Education is the key.
It is. Yeah.
Education is what's going to break the stigma and bring this into the mainstream.
Right.
And this is what we've been doing through Peachtree Normal and National Normal and all the other advocacy groups here in Georgia.
Right.
We have been working on this for, like I said, for about the past 10 years. I've been working down into the Gold Dome for the past 10 years, and that's part of my job down there was educating our representatives and telling them, saying, look, this is what we need to do, and this is how to go about it.
Right.
This is the next logical step.
Right.
We're taking it to the people now. This is your opportunity to come get your certification, and then that way when this market does open up, you'll have your foot in the door.
Right.
Because that's what they're going to need. They're going to need qualified people that understand this.
They're going to need it. So I wrote that on an average, a marijuana business owner gets about 200 resumes every opening for a post for a position. And so with the Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science and with Clayton State, our new partner, we'll be able to offer the continuing education credits. So you'll be credited. You can put it on your resume, and it will stand out from other workers and other employers if that's what the route that you decide to go. Is some people going to want jobs? Is some people going to want businesses? Is business owners who's going to want qualified workers, employees? So that's why we are standing together. Dr. Turner, the executive director of Clayton State University, he agrees with us on the continuing education and professional education. I mean, we got to get that together. So many owners across the nation have taken our courses, and they all agree that they will look for Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science when it comes to training their employees and also having their own dispensary level, entry level employers. So to know that our courses give them the cannabis knowledge to help them to succeed. Certainly not every business owner have heard of us, but all owners can agree that some training is better than no training at all, and so forth. House Bill 324, which was signed into law April the 17th of 2019. Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science owner and director, me. I was at the Gold Dome. I was advocating for veterans. I was advocating for epilepsy. My daughter was there with me in a stroller. I was pushing her in the stroller with the other epileptic patients who was there gathered at the Gold Dome. So I wanted to give my own self a pat on the back. And advocating for for those individuals who need this House Bill 324, who needs the cannabis, who have a registered card, to continue to push forth the effort. And there's a lot of doctors who can give out the cards that are not all the way properly trained. So we also have that job opportunity as being a school with continuing education.
Currently, less than 12% of the medical schools even offer courses on the endocannabinoid system.
Right.
So this is another thing. You know, we need to educate not only the politicians, but we need to educate our doctors. And you know, I talk with a lot of patients on just about a daily basis. I have people calling me and emailing me and talking to me, and you know, how do I approach my doctor with this? You know, and I have a little PowerPoint that we give them, and a little fact sheet on how to talk with your doctor. And I tell them, you know, if your doctor does not know, have them call me.
Right.
You know, I can put them in touch with other medical professionals in other states, so that we can get them educated, and so they are comfortable in writing these recommendations.
Right.
Because any doctor that holds a license in the state of Georgia can write recommendations for medical cannabis. It doesn't matter. You can be in the chiropractic field. It can be any field.
Right.
So, you know.
But we want to offer correct, factual information. We don't want people out here with half the knowledge. We want to talk about, and we teach over at Clayton State, everything in the industry. So we know that there's 4-year universities that have the option to research it. And also provide degrees. We don't have time for that in a market like this right now. So we're pushing to get the market saturated as quickly as possible, so that the work can go forth in Georgia without waiting the 4 years for the university. Not to say anything about those 2 universities. We love you. If you have a need for us to come over and assist you, please contact us at the Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science. So what you will learn from the courses over here with us, right, Dean? We have state-specific laws. It's strictly for Georgia. If you need laws for other states, we do have that as well. The opportunities for franchise and ownership, we talk about that in our Module 1. We talk about how marijuana helps patients and the power and the different cannabinoids and terpenes that are present in cannabis. We talk about marijuana and the symptoms that it can minimize or alleviate. We also talk about how all marijuana products that may be available and how to direct patients to use them without the overuse and the negative side effects. So we know there's some people who can't, who's never used cannabis, who may want to try it for the first time. We educate our students on how to work and deal with patients who will be first-time cannabis users. Just think about it. We talk about how to greet customers and speak to the customers to understand the needs and the recommendations the most appropriate for the marijuana or the cannabis products and dosages to help them have a positive experience. So the different levels of THC, the different dosages based on the age, the quality, the different strains. So we talk about that. The most important thing, the endocannabinoid system, the system that is most likely not talked about. It's not talked about in your medical schools. Medical doctors have never been taught this before, and it's new, barely just talked about or recently discovered in 1990. So we have a lot of that to talk about. We learn how this little known system, how this helps with your body uses and the cannabinoids to help alleviate the ailments that we talk about here on the show and in everybody who has them. So the main cannabinoids in cannabis, such as THC, CBD, and CBN, etc. There's so many strains that's being researched and so many strains that are being studied, right?
Right.
They're new. And how to manage the point of sale systems, the inventory systems, the security in the cannabis. So we talk about a day in the life in the dispensary with agents, owners, bud tenders, cultivators, extractors, lab workers. Again, we added the labs to it where we're going to be testing different terpenes and cannabinoids. We talk about hemp farmers, growers, trimmers. We also go on the field trips. We always go to South Carolina, and we talk about growing. We've actually had facilities that have taught our students the different things about growing. So our cannabis business, we also talk about cannabis businesses, accounting with Mr. Henderson, and he talks about all kinds of accounting and how to get your credit repaired, and he's very knowledgeable and compassionate. So we want to thank you, Mr. Henderson, for bringing your portion to the academy. Everybody have heard parts of what he talked about today with the credit and repair and so forth. And then Mr. Dean Sons, we're very happy to have you with us, bringing all of the questions and answers and all of your experience from Peachtree Normal. And
I appreciate you, Dean, the Dean of Cannabis.
Well.
I'm happy to have this opportunity. And
Wait a minute, I gotta hit the bell.
We've talked about for a long time, education is the key because, we need to educate the public, the consumers, the medical professionals, the law enforcement, everybody, because this is very, very new to a lot of people, and education is the key to breaking the stigma surrounding the cannabis plant.
That's true.
All right, well, that's about all the time that we got, though. It's time to say goodbye.
So we want to have everyone to call us next week. Tune in next week. We have more information. We're back, and we're back in here to educate the population on all things cannabis on the Holistic Cannabis Show. Thank you again, and hope you all have a wonderful week. And by the way, we forgot to tell you, Happy Valentine's Day. And we know it just passed, but we hope you all have.
I love cannabis.
Yes. Oh, we didn't do a strain. What's the strain of the day?
Strain of the day.
Let's go old school. Let's go some Northern Lights.
Northern Lights. Okay.
I just had some of that. Wait a minute. Okay.
Northern Lights is a hybrid strain. It's a sativa indica blend.
Yeah.
It's very good for pain management.
Yeah.
One of the best strains that is around and everything. It's about a 60-40 blend. It can be found in most all your dispensaries. So, if you get a chance, try it.
10 seconds left.
10
seconds.
Timing.
Remember, cannabis is medicine.
It's medicine. That's it.
5.
Let our people grow.
4.
Yes.
3.
Right. Have a
2.
good day.
1. Cannabis!